Meet Sarah, a 42-year-old marketing professional who always felt trapped by the 9-to-5 grind. She loved her job, but she longed for the freedom to travel, spend more time with family, and live life on her own terms. Several years ago, Sarah started researching how she could break free financially. She came across an article about dividend investing. At first, she didn't believe it was possible to live entirely off of dividends, but she decided to give it a shot. Sarah began by setting aside a portion of her income and invested it in solid, dividend-paying stocks. Over the next 10 years, she stuck to her plan, reinvesting dividends and letting compound interest do its magic. Today, Sarah earns $40,000 a year in dividends alone, which covers all her essential expenses. Now she lives on her own schedule, travels when she wants, and even consults part-time for fun rather than necessity. Her secret? Consistent investing, the power of dividends, and a long-term mindset. Sarah's story might sound like a dream, but with discipline and a solid strategy, it's a realistic goal for many people. Imagine waking up one day and knowing your bills are paid purely from the passive income of dividends. No more alarm clocks, no more office politics, no more worrying about the next paycheck. Dividends are payments made by companies to their shareholders, typically every quarter, just for holding onto their stock. In this video, we'll break down how you can build a portfolio that allows you to live off dividends and calculate exactly how much you need to make that happen. I'll walk you through how to choose dividend-paying stocks, what realistic numbers look like, and how you can achieve the financial freedom Sarah has. To begin, let's quickly recap what dividends are and how they work. Dividends are typically paid out by established companies that generate consistent profits. They distribute a portion of their earnings to shareholders, rewarding them for owning their stock. Dividend yields can vary greatly between companies and industries, but they typically range between 2% to 6% annually. For example, if a company has a dividend yield of 4% and you own $10,000 worth of their stock, you'll earn $400 per year in dividends. Dividends are a form of passive income because you don't have to do anything other than hold the stock to earn money. However, living entirely off dividends takes planning and patience. Now, let's talk numbers. The first thing you'll need to figure out is how much money you need to live on annually. This will vary depending on your lifestyle, location, and personal expenses, but for simplicity, let's say you need $50,000 per year to cover all your living expenses. The next key number to focus on is the average dividend yield of your portfolio. Let's assume a conservative dividend yield of 4% per year, which is realistic for a diversified portfolio of solid, dividend-paying companies. If you want to generate $50,000 per year in dividends with a 4% yield, you'd need to invest $1.25 million. Now, $1.25 million might sound like an intimidating number, but don't worry. You don't need that amount overnight. Most people build their dividend portfolios over time through consistent investing and reinvesting dividends. Let's assume you start with $100,000 and contribute an additional $1,000 every month. Using a combination of dividend reinvestment and capital appreciation, your portfolio can grow significantly over time. For example, with an average total return of 7% per year, your $100,000 portfolio could grow to nearly $725,000 in 20 years, assuming you reinvest dividends and keep adding monthly contributions. Even if you don't reach $1.25 million, a smaller portfolio with a higher yield could still generate a solid chunk of passive income to supplement other income streams like part-time work or Social Security. To live off dividends, it's important to pick the right stocks. Not all dividend-paying stocks are created equal, and focusing on companies with sustainable dividend payments is crucial. Here are the key factors to consider when choosing dividend stocks. A yield between 3 to 6% is generally considered healthy. Too low, and it might not provide enough income. Too high, and the company might be overextending itself to pay dividends. This is the percentage of earnings that a company pays out in dividends. Ideally, you want companies with a payout ratio below 60%, which means they're retaining enough profits to grow the business and sustain future dividends. Companies that regularly increase their dividends are great investments because your income will rise over time, protecting you from inflation. Look for companies in stable industries like utilities, consumer staples, healthcare, and telecommunications. These sectors tend to provide reliable dividends, even in tough economic times. Some examples of solid dividend-paying stocks include Johnson & Johnson J&J, which currently has a dividend yield of around 3%. Procter & Gamble, PG, is a staple in household products with a dividend yield of 2.6%. AT&T offers a higher yield, currently around 7%, but you'll want to watch out for companies with yields this high, as they may be riskier. Coca-Cola, KO, with a dividend yield of about 3%, has been a steady performer for decades. Remember, a well-diversified portfolio is key. Don't rely on just a few stocks. Spread your investments across different industries and geographies to reduce risk. One of the most powerful tools to help you reach your goal faster is reinvesting dividends. When you reinvest dividends, you buy more shares of the same stock, which generates even more dividends in the future. Over time, this compounding effect can significantly accelerate the growth of your portfolio. Let's take an example. If you have a $100,000 portfolio with an average dividend yield of 4%, you'll earn $4,000 in dividends in the first year. If you reinvest those dividends, your portfolio will now be worth $104,000. Next year, assuming the same 4% yield, you'll earn $4,160 in dividends. Each year, your dividends grow larger, and your portfolio compounds faster. This compounding snowball effect is key to growing your portfolio over time and eventually living off dividends. Here are a few tips to keep in mind. Don't chase high yields. Stocks with unusually high dividend yields may be tempting, but they can be risky. High yields can be a sign that the company is struggling or overextending itself to pay dividends. Always look for sustainability over sheer size. Diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversifying your portfolio reduces risk and ensures that you don't lose income if one company cuts its dividend. Stay patient. Dividend investing is a long-term game. Compounding and dividend growth take time, but they're incredibly powerful over the long run. Living off dividends isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It requires discipline, long-term planning, and careful stock selection. However, with consistent investing, reinvestment, and patience, you can build a portfolio that generates enough passive income to cover your living expenses and give you financial freedom. Whether you're just getting started or already building a portfolio, remember that every dividend payment is a step closer to your goal. Just like Sarah, who started small but eventually grew her dividends into a reliable income stream, you too can reach the point where your money works for you, and you no longer have to work for your money. So, are you ready to take that first step toward living off dividends?